Your anxiety isn't a personality flaw, it's a system error log from your cells. You're functioning perfectly right now, meeting deadlines, showing up to meetings, carrying your responsibilities. So, why does your brain refuse to shut off when you hit the pillow every night? Why do you wake up feeling like your battery never actually recharged? I've been there. As a software engineer designing medical devices that measure blood glucose and ketone levels, I had a realization one day. The equipment I build measures cellular states in people's bodies, yet I was completely ignoring every signal my own body was sending me. In this video, I'm going to redefine anxiety, not as a personality flaw, but as a system design failure. And I'll share what neuroscience and cellular biology reveal about the real solution. Stay until the end, and you'll understand why willpower alone can never fix this problem. Let's start with system collapse. Our society treats anxiety as a personal character issue. You're too sensitive. Your willpower is weak. You don't think positively enough. But this framing is completely wrong. Here's something I learned from designing software. When a system breaks down, you don't blame the user. You examine the design. Yet somehow, when we break down, we blame ourselves. I'm weak. I'm lazy. I'm not enough. Think about this for a moment. You're probably in this state right now. On the surface, you're running perfectly. Your work performance is decent. You keep your commitments. People have no idea how hard things are for you, but internally, something keeps accumulating. Unprocessed emotions, unresolved stress, continuous operation without recovery. I call this burnout architecture, a state of sustained overload before complete breakdown. Because it doesn't crash immediately, we ignore the warning signs. What's even more frightening is something called high-functioning anxiety. Your anxiety actually becomes the fuel that drives your performance. You need deadline pressure to focus. You need worry to prepare thoroughly. You need anxiety to move. So you mistake anxiety for capability. But this is like paying for living expenses with a credit card. It works for now, but the interest compounds. One day, all the bills arrive at once. The core issue isn't willpower. It's that no purification system and no regeneration system were ever designed. It's like living in a house that generates garbage every day, but has no system to empty the trash. No matter how well you organize, without a disposal structure, it just keeps piling up. Now let's go deeper. The biology layer. Let me explain exactly what anxiety is. At the cellular level, sustained stress creates low-grade inflammation in your body. It's not a visible disease. You won't have a fever or noticeable swelling. But if you run blood tests, your CRP, an inflammation marker, will be slightly elevated. Your doctor will say it's within normal range. But in your brain, this makes a huge difference. Imagine the environment inside your brain cells. There are mitochondria, your energy factories. In an inflammatory environment, these factories become less efficient. Same fuel input, less energy output. That's why you feel tired even after enough sleep. Why coffee doesn't clear your head anymore. Why your thoughts won't organize themselves. Working with blood glucose monitor data taught me something. The numbers matter less than the patterns. High blood sugar isn't the problem. Rapid spikes and crashes stress the body. Emotions work the same way. The anxiety itself isn't the issue. The pattern of unprocessed anxiety accumulating is the problem. I can describe this as psychological debris, and it physically exists. Neurotransmitter byproducts, stress hormone residue, inflammatory waste products. When these aren't properly cleared from the brain, thinking becomes foggy. Emotions become hypersensitive. Recovery slows down. Here's what's even more striking. Biological age, your actual age, and your cell's functional age can be different. You might be 30, but your brain cells could be exhausted like they're 40. Conversely, you could be 50, with cellular vitality like someone in their 30s. So anxiety isn't a personality trait. It's a product of your cellular environment. You're not overly sensitive. Your cells are struggling in an inflammatory environment right now. This brings us to the engineering layer. Now that we understand the problem, let's talk solutions. But there's an important distinction here: the difference between management and redesign. Management addresses symptoms. When you're anxious, meditate. When you're tired, rest. When you're stressed, exercise. These aren't wrong, but it's like spraying air freshener in a house overflowing with garbage. The smell hides temporarily, but the garbage remains. Redesign changes the system itself. It creates a structure where garbage is automatically processed. This is where autophagy enters the picture. Many people associate it simply with anti-aging or weight loss, but that misses the core point. Autophagy is the cellular debris removal engine for mental waste. Inside your brain cells, there are damaged proteins, underperforming mitochondria, and inflammatory byproducts. When autophagy activates, cells break these down and recycle them on their own. The cleaning crew gets to work, but autophagy alone isn't enough. If you only clean without rebuilding, you end up with an empty shell. This is where NAD+ becomes crucial. NAD+ isn't an energy supplement. It's a currency that grants permission for cellular repair. With sufficient NAD+, you can fix damaged DNA, build new mitochondria, and keep cells young. Autophagy handles cleaning. NAD+ handles reconstruction. Both must work together. One without the other is unsustainable. Cleaning alone leaves emptiness. Rebuilding alone means stacking new materials on top of garbage. What I'm pursuing is a sustainable growth structure, not short-term boosts like stimulants or energy drinks. A loop where recovery, purification, and regeneration repeat automatically. Once this is designed, the system runs without willpower. Finally, the protocol layer. Let me walk through the actual operating principles. Understanding why this sequence matters is more important than specific action items. Step 1 is input blocking. Reduce inflammatory inputs, chronic stress, excessive cognitive load, fragmented sleep. If you don't reduce the garbage, cleaning is pointless. I walk for an hour on my commute home. The subway is faster, but I choose walking. This isn't just exercise. It's time to lower cognitive load. A buffer zone, to process the stimulation that accumulated throughout the day. Step 2 is activating the cleaning trigger. Create conditions where autophagy can turn on. If you're constantly eating, cleaning mode never activates. You need fasting windows. Sleep quality matters. I failed at fasting multiple times, but I changed my approach. Instead of enduring through willpower, I addressed appetite regulation itself. Changing the system made execution possible. Step 3 is supplying regeneration fuel. Create an environment where NAD+ can recover. Sleep, appropriate exercise, and specific nutrients contribute here. Step 4 is loop stabilization. This is the most critical part. Collapse the old structure that runs from anxiety to performance to depletion. Establish a new structure, flowing from purification to regeneration to growth. This protocol's purpose isn't to make you feel better, it's to transform the structure. Anxiety doesn't disappear. You move to a system where anxiety becomes unnecessary. Let me close with one more thought. I'm someone who needs to understand principles before I feel secure. I don't just follow instructions. I need to verify data, research, and principles before I feel at ease. That's why I use CGM and ketone monitors to manage my body through data, not going by gut feeling. Understanding the principles, then making choices. Everything I shared today comes from my own experiments. I'm not forcing answers on anyone. I'm not a coach or mentor. I'm just someone sharing what I've tried. Your problem isn't weak willpower. It's that no system was designed, and systems can always be redesigned. In the next video, I'll share specific protocols for activating autophagy and the data I've been measuring in more detail. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications. Share your experiences in the comments too. Knowing you're not alone makes starting a little easier. I hope your system recovers a little more today.